During a royal engagement, Queen Camilla received a sudden message that changed everything. What she heard left her completely speechless. Her expression, caught on camera, stunned the public. The palace is silent, but insiders say the emotional weight was real, and this moment may mark a turning point. The unexpected note that changed everything. The day had begun like any other, a crisp, clear morning in Windsor, with Queen Camilla attending a planned official event in support of rural heritage initiatives. Dressed in a soft gray coat with delicate silver detailing, she smiled, greeted attendees, and gave a short but warm speech to local supporters. Everything seemed perfectly normal, calm, controlled, and rehearsed. Until it wasn't. Just moments after stepping off the stage, as she made her way through a private corridor to meet organizers, a royal aide approached Camilla with urgency. In his hand, a folded message, handwritten and marked with a seal. The moment was brief, no longer than 15 seconds, but it changed everything. Eyewitnesses say Camilla paused after reading the note. The lively energy in the room suddenly shifted. It was like the air got pulled out, one observer later told the Daily Mail. She didn't say anything. She just stood there, still, completely frozen. Her body language told the story. She went from composed to visibly shaken. Her posture stiffened. The polite smile dropped. She clutched the note in one hand and took a small step back, as if steadying herself. One of her security guards gently moved closer. Those around her, staff, photographers, even guests, seemed to instinctively sense something had gone very wrong. Within 3 minutes, Camilla was quietly escorted from the event. There was no formal announcement, no farewell, no royal wave. Insiders say no one, not even senior staff, knew what was written in that note until later that evening, when the palace issued a vague internal alert confirming an unexpected development requiring Her Majesty's immediate attention. And just like that, the Queen Consort was gone, leaving behind stunned guests, unanswered questions, and a growing sense that this was no ordinary disruption. But what could shake a woman known for her unshakable composure? What did that message say? The answer would be even more personal and more devastating than anyone expected. The content of the announcement. By the time Queen Camilla arrived back at Clarence House, the palace was already in lockdown mode. Trusted aides had cleared her schedule. Her private secretary was waiting. Inside, a guarded environment. But what was revealed to her behind those walls, or perhaps even earlier, in that handwritten note, was something deeply personal. Sources now confirm the message related to a serious medical concern involving a close family member, someone Camilla has long been emotionally tied to. While names have not been officially released, multiple insiders point toward Tom Parker Bowles, Camilla's son from her first marriage. Described as sudden, alarming, and previously undisclosed to the press, the health news came as a complete shock. What makes the moment even more heartbreaking is the timing. Just hours earlier, Camilla had publicly praised family resilience during her speech, talking about the strength we find in each other. No one in the audience would have guessed that minutes later, she'd be blindsided by a private crisis that tore through that very message. What she heard wasn't just troubling, it carried real consequences. As Queen Consort, Camilla's role demands poise, continuity, and public presence. But now, she was being hit with news that pulled her out of the ceremonial and into the deeply personal. Her expression, her exit, her silence, all mirrored the emotional gravity of what she'd just been told. The royal press team was alerted within the hour, though no formal statement was released to the public. Instead, a subtle shift began. Her upcoming appearance at the remembrance service was suddenly under review. Meetings were postponed. Behind palace walls, plans were quietly rearranged. One senior official reportedly said, "It wasn't just the news itself, it was how unprepared everyone was, Camilla included, and that's what made it so severe." Royals are trained to handle formality, scandal, even loss. But what hit Camilla that day wasn't just an announcement. It was a collision between her personal life and her royal duty, all within a single devastating moment. Coming up, how Camilla reacted behind the scenes and why even her closest aides were left speechless. Camilla's private reaction behind the formal face. Publicly, Queen Camilla remained composed. She exited the venue swiftly, with only a quiet nod to those nearby. Cameras captured no tears, no words, only a pale expression and tight lips. But those who know her best say the silence spoke volumes. Behind closed doors at Clarence House, Camilla reportedly remained quiet for nearly an hour. A source close to her inner circle revealed she just sat, no speaking, holding the note. It was one of the only times I've seen her truly speechless. Those around her, her private secretary, 2 senior aides, and her long-trusted dresser, were instructed to pause all engagements for the next 48 hours. One staffer said she appeared numb, as if trying to hold herself together just long enough to make it to safety. Camilla didn't want a fuss. She declined any formal statement or immediate attention. She reportedly asked for one thing: no calls, no headlines, just quiet. Her husband, King Charles III, was informed immediately. Though the nature of their marriage is often scrutinized, those close to the king say his concern for her was immediate and deeply personal. Within 90 minutes, he cleared a planned meeting at Birkhall and phoned her directly. According to one aide, it wasn't the king calling the queen, it was Charles calling Camilla. Just 2 people dealing with a blow. Her children, Tom Parker Bowles and Laura Lopes, were quietly brought into the loop. While exact details remain private, insiders confirmed the message affected someone within Camilla's immediate family, and that the Queen was advised to monitor the situation closely in the coming days. What struck many within the palace was her silence. Camilla is known for her wit, her laughter, even her sarcasm. But in those hours, she was quiet. And it was that quiet, uncharacteristic and heavy, that told staff just how deeply shaken she truly was. They knew immediately. This wasn't a moment for protocol. This was a moment of real, raw emotion. And soon, the rest of the royal family would be pulled into it. The royal family's instant response. The message may have been meant for Camilla, but its ripple effect swept through the royal household in less than 2 hours. The crisis wasn't just personal. It now threatened to disrupt the fragile stability of the monarchy's public schedule. First to be notified, King Charles III, who was in Scotland at the time, reviewing environmental projects near Balmoral. Within minutes of speaking to Camilla, he ordered a halt on all official communications from Clarence House until further notice. Next, the palace's emergency protocol office was activated, not because of a national threat, but because any crisis involving a senior royal, especially the Queen Consort, triggers automatic chain-of-command notifications. That same evening, private calls were made to Prince William, Princess Anne, and the palace press secretary. One insider revealed, it wasn't a conference. It was one-on-one, controlled calls. They didn't want panic. They wanted preparation. Camilla's next 3 scheduled engagements, including a literacy event in Oxford and a military visit in Kent, were quickly removed from the public calendar. No explanation was offered, only the phrase, "Her Majesty's schedule has been adjusted due to unforeseen circumstances." The strategy was clear: contain the fallout quietly without causing national alarm. But even with the palace's effort to stay calm, visible signs of concern began to surface. Staffers were seen rushing between offices. Bodyguards were redeployed. Private family meetings were booked at Highgrove, with security doubled. And then came the media pressure. News outlets noticed the silence. The BBC, ITV, and several royal correspondents issued inquiries. No direct answers came, only an official line. Her Majesty is attending to private family matters. But inside the palace, it wasn't just family concern. It was institutional caution. The Queen Consort, an anchor in King Charles's public image, had been emotionally rocked, and the royal family knew. Even the smallest misstep in response could trigger a wave of public scrutiny they weren't ready to face. They had weathered scandals, they had endured headlines, but this moment was different. It wasn't about reputation, it was about vulnerability. Next, we examine how this could affect Camilla's role going forward, and whether this moment becomes a defining chapter in her royal life. What this means for Camilla's role. The sudden disruption in Queen Camilla's schedule didn't just raise eyebrows, it sparked a serious reassessment inside the palace about her future role. The Queen Consort, once considered the steady hand beside King Charles, is now at a crossroads. How do you balance personal heartbreak with public duty? Immediately after the note incident, royal planners began reviewing Camilla's upcoming appearances. She had been set to headline 6 major engagements over the next month, including a charity gala at St. James's Palace and a diplomatic reception in Brussels. As of now, 4 have already been postponed, and the others are under review. This isn't just about one difficult moment. Insiders now say the palace is preparing a temporary delegation of her duties. Responsibilities like hosting visiting dignitaries, attending state events, and supporting the king at high-level briefings may be shifted, likely to Princess Anne and the Duchess of Edinburgh. The concern isn't just emotional, it's strategic. Camilla plays a central role in the modern image of the monarchy. Her public appearances, graceful, well-managed, and always composed, have helped smooth over past controversies. But if she is seen as vulnerable or withdrawn for too long, royal advisors worry the public may begin to question her strength in the role. On the other hand, there's also opportunity here. Some commentators, including royal biographer Ingrid Seward, suggest this could be a moment of emotional reconnection with the public. People have always seen Camilla as distant, she said, but now they're seeing something real, something human. What happens next will depend on how Camilla chooses to respond. Will she return quietly, sticking to tradition? Or could she reshape her image, revealing more of her true self in the process? One thing is certain, this moment isn't just a pause. It could reshape how we see her forever. The emotional impact beyond the crown. For all the public attention and royal protocol, Queen Camilla is, at her core, still a mother, a grandmother, and a wife. And in moments like this, moments where personal news hits like a wave, those roles come to the surface, pushing the crown to the background. Inside the palace, aides say the emotional impact has been profound. One described it simply: this wasn't just a hard day. It shook her. Camilla, known for her dry wit and steely presence, has become noticeably quieter. Fewer words, longer pauses, a subtle shift that only those closest to her can truly read. Her children, Tom Parker Bowles and Laura Lopes, have rallied around her. Though they've always kept a low profile, they've reportedly been visiting more frequently, even staying overnight at Highgrove House, a clear sign of how closely they're supporting her during this time. King Charles, too, has altered his pace. The king, often consumed by duties and policy briefings, has reportedly cleared more space in his private diary, spending extended hours with Camilla at Clarence House. Their bond, once dismissed by critics, now shows signs of deep mutual support. For palace staff, the mood is tense. They're used to managing logistics, travel, schedules, speeches, not feelings. But now, they're tasked with doing both, maintaining appearances while making sure the Queen is given time to breathe. Outside the gates, the public has taken notice. The usual detachment people associate with royals is beginning to blur. Social media is flooded with posts like, "Whatever she heard, it clearly broke her," or "I've never cared much for her, but today I felt for her." And that's the unexpected shift. In showing vulnerability, Camilla has suddenly become relatable, no longer just a royal figure, but a woman coping with news no title could protect her from. This moment isn't about duties or power. It's about what happens when the person behind the crown is forced to feel, and the world is there to witness it. Coming up, how the press handled the fallout, and what this means for Camilla's reputation going forward. Media and public reaction, the shockwaves. As soon as word spread that Queen Camilla had abruptly left a public engagement, the media response was immediate and intense. Within 2 hours, headlines appeared across BBC, ITV, The Telegraph, and The Mirror, each one speculating. What happened? Why was she rushed out? Is something wrong with the king? But it wasn't just the headlines. It was the photo, one single frame of Camilla's face, frozen mid-reaction, that went viral. Her expression was not the usual controlled elegance, it was blank, unreadable, deeply human. That image became the focus. Social media ignited. Within hours, #Queen Camilla trended on X, formerly Twitter, with over 85,000 posts dissecting her visible shock. Some users expressed sympathy. Whatever she heard, it clearly shattered her. Others speculated wildly about health crises, family emergencies, or even palace politics. The palace's response? Controlled. Their official statement was vague. Her Majesty has adjusted her schedule due to the private family matters. No names, no details. That silence only fueled the curiosity. Royal spokespersons later emphasized her need for privacy, but the public wanted answers. And the media? They walked the line between empathy and intrusion. Some respected the pause. Others pushed harder. Reputation-wise, Camilla's image took a sharp turn. Once seen as distant, even cold, many now saw vulnerability. And for the monarchy, that meant risk, but also rare connection. This wasn't just a PR moment, it was a glimpse behind the curtain, and it changed how the public looked at her, maybe forever. The broader royal implications. Inside the palace, the emotional shock Camilla endured triggered far more than schedule changes. It exposed how fragile the monarchy can be when one key figure is shaken, and that vulnerability rippled through the system. As Queen Consort, Camilla is not just a ceremonial partner, she's a symbol of continuity for King Charles's reign. Her visibility, her consistency, and her ability to steady the king during public duties are all vital to the royal brand. But now, the system had to absorb the fact that even she can be emotionally derailed, suddenly and publicly. Royal staff at Clarence House, Buckingham Palace, and even Sandringham were placed on high alert. Operations were shifted to accommodate Camilla's absence, with Princess Anne reportedly asked to increase her own appearances in coming weeks. Internally, it was viewed as temporary containment. But there's a deeper concern. If Camilla's emotional moment signals a longer pause or reduced visibility, who steps in to balance the crown? And more importantly, how does this shift public trust in the monarchy's strength? Royal insiders admit that the event has sparked broader strategy talks. The focus isn't just on Camilla's return, but on building resilience into the institution, preparing for more human moments that might unfold publicly. This incident has revealed one truth the palace can no longer ignore. The crown may be symbolic, but the people who wear it are still breakable. And now they must plan accordingly. Path to recovery. What might come next? After such a sudden and public emotional moment, one question now echoes through every royal corridor and across the media. What will Queen Camilla do next? Will she quietly return to duty as if nothing happened? Take time away to recover in private? Or will this become the moment she steps back, only to return even stronger, with a new sense of purpose? For now, palace insiders describe Camilla's current state as a low-visibility phase. Not a disappearance, but a gentle withdrawal, the kind of quiet space royals rarely allow themselves. She's spending more time at Highgrove House, the private sanctuary she's always loved, surrounded by the few people who make her feel truly safe. Her schedule has been deliberately reduced. No new public engagements have been confirmed for the next 3 weeks, and the royal diary remains blank under her name. Behind the scenes, however, discussions are very much alive. Advisors are exploring several options for her next step, all centered on one goal: how to re-enter public life gracefully, without appearing fragile. One idea being considered is a carefully chosen return appearance, not a grand state event, but a deeply personal one. Possibly a charity engagement related to mental wellness, family health, or caregivers, causes that quietly mirror what she's been living through. It would be a way of saying, "I'm still here, but I'm human too." The palace understands the emotional power of such a gesture, a return framed not in duty, but in empathy. There's also internal talk of recalibrating her role long-term. Instead of large, formal events and state dinners, Camilla could shift her focus toward smaller, more heartfelt engagements, hospital visits, youth initiatives, quiet community work. The tone would change from ceremonial to personal. Less pomp, more connection. Some staff call this approach the soft reset. It allows Camilla to protect her emotional space while showing the public that she's still committed to service, just in a more human way. Inside the palace, King Charles has been completely supportive. Despite his own demanding schedule and health concerns, he has reportedly told aides to give her all the time she needs. Their private relationship, often misunderstood by the outside world, has become a quiet source of strength for both of them. He knows that the image of the monarchy depends not only on duty, but on the strength of its partnership. In Camilla's absence, Princess Catherine and Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, have stepped in to cover several public duties, ensuring continuity while also shielding Camilla from media overload. According to one insider, everyone's rallying quietly around her. There's no blame, no pressure, just space and support. But the truth is, the real recovery won't come from palace scheduling or press statements. It will come from how Camilla herself chooses to move forward. Will she speak publicly about the moment that shook her? Will she address it subtly through her actions, showing resilience without explanation? Or will she simply carry on, embodying quiet endurance, the royal way? Whatever her decision, this episode has already become a permanent mark in her royal journey. The Queen Consort, who once seemed untouchable, has shown the world that even those who wear crowns are not immune to heartbreak. How she responds, in silence, in strength, or in openness, will define how history remembers her. Because sometimes, recovery isn't about what you say or do next. It's about how you rise after the world has seen you at your most human. And for Queen Camilla, that rise may just redefine her legacy. What it means for us. The takeaway. In a world where royals are expected to be composed, unshaken, and always in control, Queen Camilla's silent, stunned moment broke the mold. She didn't cry publicly, she didn't speak, she didn't run from the cameras, but the look on her face, captured in that single unscripted second, said everything that words couldn't. It was the kind of expression we're not used to seeing from someone in her position. Raw, unguarded, deeply human. And in that moment, the weight of the crown fell away, revealing something far more relatable underneath. For the public, it was a reminder that behind every polished wave and royal title is a person. A woman who receives unexpected news. A mother who worries. A wife who feels deeply. Someone who, for all her royal training, still has a heart that can break, just like anyone else's. This story wasn't about scandal or politics. It wasn't about press management or royal protocols. It was about vulnerability, the kind that rarely makes its way through palace gates and into the public eye. But when it does, when we see it, feel it, it forces us to pause, to look again. Camilla has spent decades under scrutiny, often judged more by her past than her present. She's been called names, dragged through headlines, and painted with labels she didn't always deserve. But on that day, in that moment, she wasn't Queen Camilla. She was simply Camilla. And that may have been the most powerful royal moment in years. For some, that single moment changed everything. It softened judgments. It stirred empathy. It reopened conversations about how we perceive royal women, especially those who've fought for acceptance in a rigid institution. And for the monarchy itself, this moment served as a quiet but serious test. Can the royal family afford to show emotion and still be seen as stable? Can it be human and still be respected? Can it let the world see its cracks and not crumble because of them? Because if the institution is to survive in the 21st century, it may need to learn to embrace those cracks. To show the people not just duty and grace, but feeling. In the end, the final question still hangs in the air. Will this moment define Camilla? Or will she be the one who defines what comes next? The story isn't over. The cameras may turn away. The headlines may fade. But one thing is certain. This was the moment the world truly saw her. Not as a royal, but as a woman. And once you see someone like that, you never see them the same way again. This wasn't just a reaction, it was a revelation. Queen Camilla's silence spoke louder than any royal address. What she heard that day left a lasting impact, both personally and publicly. And now, the world waits to see. Will this moment define her reign or reshape it entirely?